Jeff Wright from Oracle Development discusses the mechanisms that protect a customer's virtual machine within the Exadata Cloud Customer.
When you ask the question, can something happen with a computer? The answer is always yes. The more useful question is, what are the controls in the system that govern how you can access data? And then show that those controls are the things that are in place. And if you believe that those controls are sufficient, then you can say, great, this computing system is fine for me to use for controlling access to the data. Your next question usually is, can an Oracle person gain access to the customer VM? The first bit is that you should trust the software to run as it's been coded. You want to make sure it's coded to do what you want it to do, and that's quality and testing. You actually shouldn't trust any person, right? Because the important part about people is we have intent. And you want to make sure that you have people that are good, but you shouldn't ever trust people 100%. The mechanics in the system is that Oracle software can access customer services. So when we draw a picture of how the service looks, and if you are a customer, which is this person up here, you have access into databases that run inside of a virtual machine. It is true that Oracle software will access the customer virtual machine on a particular kind of connection, MTLS secured connection into a database and agent. And it is also true that some parts of the Oracle software will access that same virtual machine using an SSH connection on port 22. When you think about the controls that are in the system, there's controls in the system within Oracle that secure and protect access to the credentials that are used to access the VM. So there's a credential MTLS authentication to connect to the agent. And there's the credential, which is an SSH token that you use to connect into the VM. Both of those credentials are checked inside of that customer VM. Those credentials are your first line of defense. They provide a good, solid mechanism for protection. And if you're comfortable with the credential security, everything is good. The next aspect is if you decide that you want further control, meaning I'd like to protect isolated a network layer, as a customer, you can always block the connection into the agent so that the agent can't connect on 443. You can always block the connection on port 22, which means you can't connect through SSH. And of course, blocking connections makes the service less convenient to use because the agent won't work, right? You can't create a database, for example. However, it does offer you a balance of security. And so the thing when you look at, can something access the data, what we really want to say is that the controls that protect the authentication of the software is the first layer. And if that's not enough, you always have the protection as a customer to block that port access. And then of course, what we're describing is in addition to the controls in that VM, we also have the data in and out of the VM as encrypted. So you get this really nice picture. When the data is exposed to this stuff in red, where Oracle staff can operate, the data is all protected by encryption. The mechanism to get to the keys is you have to get inside of this thing here in blue, which you can log into the database. That you can further lock down with the firewall.